The following program was produced by the Theosophical Society in America.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ed Tick, and I'd like to thank you for sharing a few minutes with me to talk about some of the most difficult and pressing issues of our times, some of the problems that afflict our nation and our world most severely. It has been said that the first casualty of war is truth. Whenever we go to war, our imaginations are shaped by the government, by the media, by our popular beliefs for months and years beforehand in order to prepare us or any people for the terrible act of going to war. When our troops return home, veterans most commonly do not speak. They do not tell us the truth about their horrific experiences, but we do see that they come home changed. And as we all know now, with post-traumatic stress disorder being a well-known diagnostic category, our troops come home disordered and disturbed and perhaps not able to function any longer. That is why I'm speaking with you on behalf of our veterans, their families, and not just our nation, but our entire world suffering from violence. I'm appealing to you to join with all of us who are concerned about our veterans and think about what veterans really need to help them come home and heal from post-traumatic stress disorder. In War and the Soul, I present an alternative, holistic, and psycho-spiritual model for understanding veterans and for working with post-traumatic stress disorder. Essentially, post-traumatic stress disorder is not merely a stress and anxiety disorder. It can be better understood as an identity disorder because once a person has been in the military and once a person has gone off to war, he or she comes home different forever. The traumatic wounds of war take over the entire consciousness. So the trauma is very big and the identity of the survivor becomes very small. What we see in PTSD is an individual who is still living in a war consciousness.
My first wife, she really took a lot of the brunt of it because I was unaware of what was going on. I would pull nightly watch around the house, and one time I had her up against the wall with a knife against her neck, and because she had come out to find out what was going on. I felt that I was normal and everyone else was goofy, and they weren't watching their back. They weren't watching each other's back. They weren't playing it safe. They were always doing things that could cause problems rather than trying to solve problems. I guess it's just a way of looking at it.
I've been working with veterans for almost 30 years. After about a decade of the best psychotherapy I could offer, I realized with my veterans that the wounds of war are far deeper than even the best psychotherapy could penetrate. I began a worldwide search in the warrior tradition. I traveled all over this continent working with Native American veterans and their communities. I now travel to Vietnam. I've traveled other places around the world to study the warrior tradition and how other cultures of other times and places brought their warriors home. I went in search of modern means by which we could adapt these ancient techniques to our warriors. These include rituals of purification and cleansing, storytelling not just between veterans and not just the veteran to the therapist, but in the community, acts and practices of reconciliation between veterans and civilians, bringing veterans back to places of service, such as Vietnam, where they can meet with former enemy combatants and reconcile and enter into a shared community of war survivors.
Several years ago, Linda saw on the internet or some article in a paper, an article by Ed Tick about returning to Vietnam. And she says, how would you like to go back to Vietnam? Well, it wasn't just a no, it was a hell no. And no way. But then she let me read the articles. We wrote to Ed, and he had some of the other vets write back to us, and got to see that there could be some healing for the PTSD. He sent a list of stuff, like he had several books about the ancient Greek healing, and this was something that he was trying to produce in the PTSD, and it made a lot of sense. And revisiting the site of trauma, and also the people, seeing the people of that country, and this was very helpful. Most of the guys in the group were just no way they had such animosity towards the Vietnamese, towards the war, towards what was going on.
I have founded a nonprofit organization called Soldier's Heart. Soldier's Heart exists as a veterans advocacy and safe return program. We travel around the country educating professionals and clergy in how to help heal post-traumatic stress disorder. We work with communities to create veterans return programming, talking circles in churches and synagogues and mosques, church and other faith organization liturgy.
Please join me with a dua for our prophet as we close. Oh Allah,
to give veterans the spiritual support they need. We also have a pen pal program where we partner up active duty service people in Iraq and Afghanistan with older veterans and civilians who understand the struggle of surviving in a war zone and are willing to be in active correspondence with our overseas soldiers. In most of this short address, we have been talking about veterans, but I need to say something directly to you, veterans, my brothers and sisters. You carry the truth. We in civilian society don't know it. War, violence, destruction, and suffering will continue. And you veterans and other victims of war will continue to suffer until all of us know and share the truth about war. We are responsible to help you come home and restore life. And we need you to come home to us. We do understand finally that there are ways of helping you come home. You don't have to live in a psychic war zone the rest of your life. The roadmap has been studied and laid out for you to walk home and continue to serve us as honorable elder warriors for the rest of your lives. Please come home to us. Please let us help you come home. Let's walk this warrior's path together, bringing healing to you and healing and recovery to our entire country.